Hey everyone, Brett Bartholomew here. We're going to get right into this. And first off, happy Halloween. That's originally when we're dropping this, and I say that for a reason. It's going to play into the content today. If you're not watching this in Halloween, it still matters because it's going to speak to a core principle of business. Now, a little bit more context here. About 7 years ago, I went out on my own and started my own business, and eventually my wife joined me. And that business was really simple. We want to change the way the world interacts. So we focus on no-nonsense leadership, communication strategy, power dynamics, and the like. But inevitably, and we never saw this coming, we never really thought we were going to advise other people on building a grassroots business. More and more people came to us for that advice. Not because we're some geniuses or have some 10x business, but mainly just because we try to do things really practically. And people saw us examples of folks that were out there doing work and wanting to share pragmatic strategies. But one of the issues that we had is people kept coming to us with a lot of imposter phenomenon. They'd say, hey, I want to do something like you guys are doing, starting my own business or going out on my own, but I don't feel like I'm good enough, or I feel like it's such a saturated market. I don't really get how I'm ever going to be successful. So this brought us to just helping people understand the concept of differentiation. And you don't need a business degree or anything like that to understand this concept. I understand, just getting right out in front of it, how it can seem daunting, whether you're just starting or you're in the midst of, going out on your own or building your own brand, feeling like who's going to care? Who's going to want what I have? Or it's such a massive market, I don't think I'm going to be able to really separate myself. What differentiation is really all about, and it's really owed to Michael Porter, and we're going to speak to it a little bit differently here, is really understanding what makes you uniquely relevant. Okay, not what just makes you different, like, oh, we're better than them, or they don't do this. What makes you uniquely relevant? It's a strategy. So let's use an example real quick of grocery stores. Let's say we looked at like Walmart, Aldi, Target, and Whole Foods. Those can seem like competitors, but clearly they all have different offerings and price points. At Walmart, you can get everything from lunch meat to lawnmowers. You can't do that at Whole Foods, right? But if you compare Whole Foods and Aldi, both sell only food, right? But there's going to be different price points. These things are for different markets. So whether it's your pricing strategy, the nature of your offerings, your origin story, your location, your delivery method, there's always something different. Now let's use the Halloween analogy because I'm a bit of a cheeseball. We teach this at our brand builder course and people tend to think it's funny, although it's probably only going to be funny in like a dad joke kind of way. We put up a slide that says, listen, if you look at the horror movie industry, that's obviously very saturated, and relax. You don't have to be a horror movie fan. Remember, this is for Halloween. And yet, if you look at Michael Myers, Freddy Krueger, Jason Voorhees, Leatherface, Chucky, they're all different. If you just look at the locations, well, Michael Myers only kills people in Haddonfield, Illinois. He, unlike Jason, does not go to space. Okay? He, unlike Freddy Krueger, does not get you in your dreams. Straight up Haddonfield, Illinois, right? So you have to think, all right, where's my differentiation? Does my core product, exist only online? Does it exist in person? Is it both? If so, is there a different delivery method? Think about that, right? Because that alone can make a huge difference. For us, we have online resources, but the core of what we do at Art of Coaching is always going to be live events. Why? That's where real learning, hands-on learning takes place. It doesn't mean resources like this aren't valuable. It doesn't mean other resources aren't valuable. It means for us and the type of content we deliver, which is pretty nuanced content, you get into the weeds of psychology and human behavior and communication, that's going to be where it's best done. We do role playing, we do improv, we do peer-to-peer feedback. So think about, where is the core of your product going to be strongest? Okay, another thing is delivery methods, and apologies, I'm getting over a cold. There are different methods of killing. Michael Myers, by and large, uses a butcher knife or his hands. Jason straight up uses a machete. Leatherface will use a chainsaw. Freddy Krueger's got claws. That's another means of differentiation. What is your delivery method like? So it's not just your location and where you can be found, but what's the delivery method of your expertise, right? There's always some nuances that you can utilize there. What's your brand story? Okay, Jason's got a different origin story than Chucky. Chucky's a crazy little evil doll. I think he's a supernatural spirit. I don't know. Jason's a spirit as well, but he became that way through a different means. Michael Myers, Freddy Krueger, they're all different. What is your origin story? That's perhaps the most meaningful point of differentiation there is. Listen, I know I'm an intense person. And a lot of times people will say, why are you so passionate about communication strategy and power dynamics and psychology? I was hospitalized for a year of my life. I nearly died in part due to poor medical care rooted in poor communication, right? So there's a huge piece of that for me that this is personal. We have people that reach out to us that have said, hey, you fundamentally have helped change the way I talk to my spouse, the way I talk to my kids, the relationship I have with myself. And that's not to be meant to be sappy. We just believe that the most, important form of intelligence is human intelligence, understanding ourselves, understanding other people, and how to connect with them, right? So that's a huge piece. The origin story of all those psychopaths in those movies is different. Think about what yours is, right? Life is stranger than fiction, but you can learn a lot. Okay, another piece there. Think about their personas, right? Chucky is just a loudmouth talking like smart aleck little doll. Michael Myers doesn't say a word. I don't know if Jason speaks. Freddy Krueger, more like Chucky. Leatherface, I'm pretty sure it's just utterances. Even if you're in a space where there's a lot of competition, because your brand story or your brand delivery method and all those things is different, so too will be your brand voice, right? There's room for a lot of voices. Do not listen to people that say, oh, everything has already been said. There's nothing that, is new under the sun. An athlete that I used to train back in a previous life when I was a strength coach once said this to me. He said, you say that you're not on social media because you don't feel like you have any unique things to say that haven't already been said, but you're forgetting some people want to hear your take on those things. They like the way that you explain it. Just as many people that have been turned off by the horror movie analogy or us trying to do just something fun for Halloween, there's many of you that love it. And you're like, hey, I get it. I think that's fun. And that is a unique way to speak to differentiation, and it's very relevant, right? There's going to be something for everybody. Just share what you want to share, and you need to be terrifically consistent. You have to be consistent, just like Michael Myers comes back year after year after year. All these crazy little people are persistent. They don't stop, and you're going to have to be as well. It's better that you think of yourself like a farmer. You're not always going to be able to control that harvest, but year after year, you have to come back and you have to work the fields. You have to do those things. You're sensing my Nebraska roots here. Okay, and then you're going to have to get creative. This is the last piece here. Michael Myers is pretty straightforward. Dude doesn't even run, right? Chucky, because he's small, he's got to trip people. He's got to do a lot of things to get these people cut down to size, literally and figuratively. So think about that. Because if you're just complaining or you're shouting from the mountaintops that you're better and you expect people to just know that, you're wrong. You're going to have to get creative. You're going to have to switch things up. You're going to have to go from a different angle. You're going to have to pursue. You're going to have to make sure that you follow up. Sometimes it's as simple as saying, hey, what could we be doing better? What could we do to win your trust? So if there's anything I hope that you learned here is it doesn't matter if you're going into a saturated industry. It doesn't matter if you're feeling like an imposter. It means if you just think about things like location, your delivery method, your origin story, your brand voice, your strategies, how they're going to adapt based on your limitations, a la Chucky, right? Or your strengths, Michael Myers and Freddy Krueger, right? There's always an opportunity out there. But I want to be real with you. If you are expecting that just because you're a really knowledgeable person and that you have good in your heart, that people are going to find you and follow you, you're wrong. That's just not enough today. You have to over-deliver, you have to be consistent, and the messy reality is you have to be prepared for setbacks. You're not for everybody. Remember, there's going to be horrible comments. There's going to be people that, say things about you behind your back. But the amount of people out there that are for you and believe in you supersede all that other nonsense. So I hope this helped in some way, shape, or form. Please subscribe if it did. We're not a fancy YouTube channel. We don't do a ton of graphics. We are a small team that just believes in putting actionable content out. We're out there doing things just like many of you are. If this helps, share it with a friend. Once again, if you're watching this on Happy Halloween to you and your loved ones. If you're watching this any other time of year, check out our other resources below as well. Talk to you soon.